Hey guys, welcome to Board Game Geek TV, all things geek. I'm your host, Jess, and we're going to take a look into the world of board games, role-playing games, and video games. Today we're going to talk about a bit of news from June, where in Germany they awarded the Spiel des Jahres. Each year there are two categories, the Spiel des Jahres, or the Family Game of the Year, and the Kinderspiel des Jahres, or the Kids Game of the Year. This year they added a new category, the Kennerspiel des Jahres, or the Connoisseur's Game of the Year. This is an award given to recognize games for more experienced players. The Spiel des Jahres was awarded to Qwirkle by Susan McKinley Ross, and the Kennerspiel des Jahres was awarded to Seven Wonders by Antoine Bauza. Today we're going to talk about Seven Wonders, Qwirkle, and the Seven Wonders Leaders expansion. Seven Wonders is a game designed by Antoine Bauza, published by Repost Games. You may have heard of the game, you might have even played it, so without going into too much detail, each player starts with 3 coins, 1 resource, and 7 cards. Each player chooses 1 card from their hand, then all players reveal their card simultaneously. Players then pay for the card, if there is any cost, to build the card in front of them. There's a little more to it than that, but that's the basic turn. Everyone passes their remaining cards clockwise. Now all players have 6 cards in their hands. And they basically do the same thing again. Each player chooses a card, reveals it, they then pay for it, build it, and they pass their cards clockwise. After you've done this 6 times, you've reached the end of the first age. At this point, everybody who's built a military card does a military check. Players may or may not be awarded victory points, and then we move on to age 2. Everyone gets a new hand of 7 cards. You're basically going to do the same thing again, except you'll pass your cards counterclockwise. The age 2 cards are a little more advanced, with better production and stronger military. You may even get to build cards for free if you've built certain cards previously. You do that 6 times, the age ends, you do another military check, and then you're on to age 3. In the third age, we're basically going to do the same thing again. Everyone's going to get 7 more cards, they're going to be stronger, but this time you're going to also get guild cards. Guilds are scoring bonuses, and they're kind of like the big buildings from Puerto Rico. They award points based on the cards built in front of you and your opponents on either side. 6 cards later, the third age ends. You do 1 final military check, and then you add up your victory points. Throughout the game, you've been building cards that will gain you points at the end. This is, in fact, the main decision you've been making from the beginning. Are you going to build cards that will grow your production, or will you build cards that will gain you points? Which is especially important because the most points wins. As I said, there's a bit more to it than that. Every player, for example, gets a different wonder. Each wonder has 3 levels. Every level can award you different things. Victory points, special powers, money. But essentially, whichever one you draw randomly in the beginning can shape the direction of your game. But basically, 3 ages, 6 builds per age, everything scores at the end. Seven Wonders is an excellent game. It might seem intimidating at first, but it's actually really simple. And there are 7 wonder cards that you could randomly draw. So your strategy is going to be a little different each time. What may work for the pyramids of Giza might not work for Babylon. That's another thing. These are really recognizable features. Everyone's heard of the pyramids, so it doesn't really matter who you play with. They'll probably recognize most of them. And the artwork is spectacular. It's beautifully done, great colors, well rendered. I spent a good chunk of time looking at it the first time I picked it up. And my last point would be sure and look over the rules really well before starting this game. There's a lot that you need to know, and it can be pretty challenging, but it's definitely worth the effort. The cool thing about Qwirkle is how simple it is. It's just a bag of 108 blocks. Each player starts with 6, and on your turn, you either play the blocks to the center of the table and draw back to 6, or you exchange any unwanted blocks. The blocks will have one of 6 different shapes on them, and that shape will be one of 6 different colors. So, for example, there's a blue circle, a red circle, and a yellow circle. There's also a yellow diamond, a yellow star, and so on. There's 3 of everything in the game, so if somebody's played a green square to the table, then there are 2 more green squares out there. Blocks are played like the tiles in Scrabble. You can play 1 block or a set of blocks. Regardless, you can only play them one of two ways. All the same color but different shapes, or all the same shapes but different colors. When you make a play, you score 1 point per block for each new row or column. As the board eventually grows, opportunities will show up, like in Scrabble, where you can add a single block and earn points in multiple directions. Oh, about that, when you play multiple blocks to the board, you have to play them as a set. So you couldn't do this, but you could do this, or this. Since there are only 6 colors and 6 shapes, the largest any row or column can be is 6. Making a set of 6 is called a Qwirkle, and it scores you a bonus of an extra 6 points. Qwirkle! And that's pretty much the gist of the game. You play blocks, you score points, you draw back up to 6. You do this until the bag is empty and someone plays their last block. That player gets a bonus of 6 points for ending the game. You add all the points up, and the highest score wins. If it were just about scoring the most points on every turn, the game would still be fun. But the shape and color restrictions allow for some satisfying defensive plays. For example, it's your turn and you don't have the block it takes to make this Qwirkle, but you don't see any on the table. That means that there are still 3 of them in the mix. And from the way the next player is smiling at you, you're pretty sure he's got one. Well, rather than playing a high-scoring move, you could choose instead to do this. It only scores you 2 points, but you've now blocked the Qwirkle. The flip side to that is when you hold all the remaining blocks of a particular color shape. This means that certain Qwirkles cannot be made without you, and you can use this to your advantage. The game also has an interesting way of choosing the start player. After everyone draws their initial hand of 6, all players must announce the highest possible score they can make with their hand. Whoever's highest must then start the game by making that play. This is an interesting balancing mechanism because it prevents someone from potentially running away with the game just because they got a lucky draw initially. And that's Qwirkle! Qwirkle is a really fun game. When you open up the box, it has a very unique look. Lots of fun shapes and bright colors. It looks like it was designed with children in mind, making it a really fun family game for all ages. There is an element of luck involved, but fewer players can mean more opportunity for strategy. It looks pretty simple, but it can actually be very in-depth, making it a really diverse game. The 7 Wonders Leaders expansion adds 2 new things to the game: a deck of leader cards and a brand new phase to the beginning of each age. In addition to your wonder, you get 6 coins instead of 3 and 4 leader cards. All players look at their leader cards, choose 1, and pass the remaining 3 to the left. Look at your new hand, choose again, pass the remaining 2. Make one final choice, pass the last card. You've now drafted a hand of 4 cards. These leaders will be yours for the rest of the game. So now you're ready to start. Each age now starts with a leader phase, so don't deal out those age 1 cards yet. Each player chooses a leader and reveals it simultaneously. Like in the regular game, you may build your leader, discard it for 3 coins, or use it to build a level of your wonder. But you're probably going to want to build it if you can, because the leaders are kind of like the levels of your wonder, offering you and only you a wide range of benefits, from basics like money and military to endgame victory bonuses and special powers. So let's look at some of them. Extra military, sciences, and money. Straight up victory points. Endgame victory points based on certain cards. Other victory bonuses. Victory points for specific goals. New money bonuses. And special powers. These make building cheaper. These let you build a leader or a guild for free. This bounces negative military back to your opponent. This awards money whenever building with a chain. And this allows you to buy any one resource from the bank for 1 coin. This can mean that money is a lot tighter, and you might find yourself discarding for coins more than you would normally, especially if your opponents aren't paying you for resources. Before you're dealt your Age 2 cards, all players simultaneously choose a leader and either build it or discard it. By the way, when you discard a leader, it goes back in the box, not in the discard pile. That way, anyone using a build power can't use it to build a leader. Since there are only 3 ages, you'll only use 3 of your 4 leader cards. But it's kind of nice that they give you 4 to choose from. It allows you to alter your strategy as the ages play out. Also included in the expansion is a new wonder, Rome, and 4 new guilds. As you might expect, Rome and 2 of the guilds revolve around the leaders, but the other 2 can be added to the base game permanently if you so choose. The Leaders expansion is really cool because it adds a whole new level of complexity and interest to the game. There's a lot more opportunity to gain points as well as spend money. The other cool thing is, the hero cards are all famous, mythological, and historical characters. And in case you're wondering, my favorite card is the Courtesan card. Well, that's it for all things geek. Thanks for watching!